Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is your host Maverick, bringing to you Dr. Stone episode 3. So, last episode, we revived this super OP character, Tsukasa. He's seriously inhuman in his abilities, but however, he is sort of at odds with our main character Senku, right? So Tsukasa wants to essentially take advantage of this current situation and instead establish a new world order, where only the competent, or maybe only the pure of heart or whatnot, or some arbitrary other kind of criteria, kind of people will be revived into this world. The rest, well, just let them die, right? Or technically they're not dead, but in suspended animation, if we will. But Senku, of course, is having none of that. He wants to help save everyone. He wants to recreate civilization, or yeah, recreate civilization. And so we now have our first real antagonist of this series. And indeed, this is going to continue on for quite a while. Tsukasa is definitely a character here to stay. That I can say for right now. The rest, we'll just see what's going to happen within the episode. I'm not going to spoil anything, so let's just get into the episode. Alrighty, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah, Crunchyroll. And for those of you who didn't catch my last episode yet, the real thing I had, the real problem I had with last episode was they didn't really fully show the bond between Tsukasa and Senku. They actually became, I wouldn't, maybe not close friends, but they definitely had a certain amount of trust with each other. So they sort of like accelerated the story a little bit too fast, but not by too much. And I don't completely blame them because, as I said at the very first episode, the story actually really picks up about maybe 40 chapters into the manga. And judging by the pacing that we're having right here, that's probably till episode 10 and perhaps even further. Of course, Senku's like, "You big idiot oaf." Alright, let me skip this real quick. There we go. Weapons of science. And of course, he's gonna go and find it as well. Yep, alright, never mind. Yeah, that was just a distraction. He had enough. So you guys can see, this Tsukasa guy isn't just all force and no brains, right? He's actually quite smart as well. Ah, this scene. Yeah, it takes some time. Since he doesn't have access to a microscope, sorry, it slipped my mind for a while. He can only hypothesize what that is. $3,700 to be exact. This revival scene. There's a lot to retort about the scene. Like the fact that her body... no. New World Order. Okay, that was an interesting animation. It's more or less similar to the manga. See, this is one of the parts that really do keep this in mind, that he had every single opportunity to kill them, but he didn't. That's all I'm gonna put out there. Pew pew! Mm-hmm. How is his brain wired? And to know this from memory, like, Senku. He's just inhuman in his own right. Just bear with that fact. There's nothing logical about his intelligence. Also, something that's never really explained is why her headphones are still intact. But like I said, don't question it. all right. This guy's, perseverance is also quite insane. Remember this scene. This scene is important. To take a bath, of course. So they can get sulfur. Alright. And that was it for this episode. Okay, I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty, as Senku just said, we are really progressing along the ages of technology rapidly, aren't we? Get used to it, because this is only going to go more and more faster and more crazy in the future. Him jumping from the Stone Age directly to something sort of like Middle Age era technology is quite a huge leap, but your minds will be blown in the future. No spoilers though, no spoilers. Well, to be fair, they do kind of jump back and forth, right? If you were expecting something linearly, like, you know, progressing through all the different ages, just Bronze Age, and then Iron Age and whatnot, so on and so forth, this work doesn't do it that way. Like I said, it's not completely logical. But then again, thinking about it, since you already have the knowledge of modern day technology already, there's no reason that you have to progress on a linear fashion throughout the different ages of technology, right? So, in that sense, you know, I'd say give it a pass, right? And it does make things a lot more fun, if you will, once they get to the more, you know, to the technology stuff that we actually understand more. And it's also the reason why I say that the story really picks up maybe 10 episodes in, because that's also the time when they start really ramping this part up. But anyways, as we are right now, you know, getting black powder, right? Getting black gunpowder. So it makes sense, right? You got this dude, you got this insane inhuman dude, Tsukasa, who is able to rip out a projectile traveling at 200 kilometers per hour with his bare hands. What do you do against him? Well, you fire the projectiles at him even faster, right? Using gunpowder, they can easily go twice the speed of that crossbow, and all the way to even more than the speed of sound, right? Now, obviously, nowadays we don't use this kind of gunpowder anymore. As you might know, we don't really, when we fire a gun or something, we don't have tons of black smoke coming out of the muzzle, right? So we've since moved on to more modern solutions, but still, relative to the era, it's a easy thing to make, right? As first discovered by the Chinese, and then later on spread to the Europeans. And speaking of how it's made, if you go Google the components of making gunpowder, you'll also see why last episode there was a certain foreshadowing, if you will. So, you know, I don't consider this a spoiler because, you know, like I said, you can easily Google what the components of gunpowder is anyways. But, so yeah, that's why last episode had that kind of foreshadowing, if you will. And as for the actual, you know, for Yuzuriha and whatnot, well, I mean, it's nice and all that she's revived, but her time comes a little bit later, right? Really, the other things for this episode, I'd say the biggest attention you probably want to pay attention to, the biggest thing you want to pay attention to is maybe that scene where they were talking about the sort of healing properties of the stone, or petrification, if you will. But anyways, really, what I still want to mostly focus on is the relationship between Senku and Tsukasa, and, you know, their characters as a whole, right? So, I'm not, really, for this episode, I still have the same complaints I have from last episode, and that is, I feel like they are making Tsukasa to be too much of a one-dimensional character. I guess that's not quite fair, but as I said, I feel like his relationship with Senku is actually an important part of his character that the writers, for some reason, are just choosing to not touch on at all, right? including the fact that okay, so at the very least, Tsukasa has huge amounts of respect for Senku, and that was already portrayed at this point within the manga as well. So he really does not want to kill Senku. He wants to, he really respects him, and he wants him to keep living his life. You gotta understand, Tsukasa is not a mass murderer, right? He might be genocidal, but at least he has principles. And honestly, okay, so this part is speculation, so I'm not going to say it's spoilers, since it's never really explicitly stated in the manga, but if you guys recalled back to the scene where Senku and Tsukasa were having that kind of face-off, right, with Senku firing the crossbow at Tsukasa, the way that they animated, it didn't seem like the bolt was going to hit Tsukasa, right? And that is not an error. I truly believe that Senku at that time did not want to actually kill Tsukasa either, right? Remember, he doesn't know that Tsukasa is actually this insane, but still he purposely missed, and he's really just using it as a show of force. Now, Tsukasa, on the other hand, I feel like he knows this intuitively as well, right? He is, for all intents and purposes, a very smart guy himself, right? Definitely not on the same intelligence level as Senku, but also not a simpleton. He probably knew that that bolt would not hit him, but still decided to catch it anyways as a show of force to say, okay, I see what you're trying to do. Still, you don't, if you're trying to feel mercy for me or whatnot, that's okay, but I don't need it, because there we go. I would have taken care of it anyways, right? So that is just my speculation, but I do believe that that is sort of the back and forth, and it really just further exemplifies the sort of relationship between these two. And also, like I said, Tsukasa didn't kill him right there, then and there, in front of the house, when he had every reason and every bit of ability to do so. Like, if he really wanted to kill all three of them there, it would be GG. Of course, he actually has some other reasons as well, but which I won't go into. But I still believe that he did not at that point want Senku dead. Actually, he did not at any point really want Senku dead, anyways. Since game recognizes game, if you will. So yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed that they really chose to gloss over this and really make him to be just a token bad character, when in reality, they have a more complicated relationship than that. Alright, so anyways, next episode, we are going to be seeing, the effects of making the gunpowder. Like, if you guys haven't caught on by now, Senku does everything that he says, right? He's a man of his word. And we are also, I'm expecting by the next episode, probably moving on to the second big arc of or actually, should I say second? Really, the first big arc of the series as a whole. And that one will really start pushing the way to start ramping up this series as a whole as well. So, anyways, those are my review and thoughts for this episode, and I will see you guys again next week. So, till then, stay tuned, and bye.